many to be the greatest all-around billiard player of any era. Won his first world title at the age of 18. For over 20 years, his successes were so numerous, to many fans, billiard simply meant Willie Hoppe. Won world titles in 19.1 and 19.2 Balkan, as well as the cushion carom world title. When Balkan was replaced by three-cushion billiard as the championship came, Hoppe merely retooled his game. Between 1936 and 1952, he won the world three-cushion title 11 times. Hoppe won the world 18.1 Balkan Championship by beating Maurice Bernard of France on January 15, 1906. He also held the title in 1908 from 1909 through 1911 and from 1914 through 1926. After losing the championship to Schaefer Jr. in 1926, Hoppe regained it in 1927. The last year competition took place in the form of billiards. The World 18.2 Balkan Championship in 1907 from 1910 through 1920, from 1923 through 1924, and 1927, Hoppe began concentrating in the three-cushion billiard in 1930s. He won the World Championship in 1936, from 1940 through 1944, and from 1947 until his retirement in 1952. Many of Hoppe's records still stand, including an unbelievable run of 622 in 18.2 Balkan during an exhibition in 1912. He set records with runs of 20 points in three-cushion league play in 1927 and three-cushion match play in 1945, and he ran a record 25 points in a 1928 exhibition against Charles C. Patterson. His grand tournament average of 1.33 in 1950 is also a record.
Now let's take a cue on three cushions from Mr. Billiards himself, Willie Hoppe, the old maestro of the ivories, Willie the Wizard, champion in the world of sport for more than half a century. Hoppe's game is the most difficult of them all, three-cushion billiards, where every shot's a trick shot, demanding skill, perfect control, split-second timing. And speaking about your PhDs, you need one in geometry to know all the angles in this game. Here comes a time shot that's purely for exhibition purposes. It begins by starting the cue ball down the table. Number 2 follows the cue ball. They're both ticketed to go around 5 cushions. If your eyes are quicker than the ivories, you can count each ball taking 5 rails. And they're all headed for a billiard in the same spot. This is what you call perfect control. And one of the most sensational shots you'll ever see, winding up with a billiard. Not only have few cuemen ever beaten Hoppe, not many have even tied him. Massey shots like this are a good reason why. Already 3 cushions, 4, 5, and a billiard. Lining up a time Massey exhibition shot. If his timing is off just a split fraction of a second, it's no go. Look at the English on that cue ball. Calculated perfectly to take exactly the proper spin and speed off the rail. As it comes off the 5th cushion and heads up the table, Willie the Wizard Massays the second white ball off the red, and just listen to that English accent. Massey shot in the corner. There's enough spin and draw for a 4-cushion billiard. Willie does it in 1 square foot of table. Brother. Not strictly according to Hoyle, but according to Hoppe, demonstration of his mastery of the cue and the polished ivories. A bouncer off the far cushion, then off his cue to make the billiard. Idea here is to get all the loose change off the table, a quarter on the edge of the cushion, a glass behind it, and brother, dig that crazy cash register. 4 very shapely reasons why this shot's not only difficult, but more than slightly distracting. But concentration has always been the mark of a champion. This is what I call the scenic railway shot, and he bothers to make a billiard yet. Now Now let's give them a tough one. Duck pins scattered all over the table and 6 cushions to hit to get around them. Object here is not to knock them over. Missing all the pins would be a cinch for me, particularly on a bowling alley. The old maestro not only misses them neatly, he makes a 6-cushion billiard at the same time. No wonder he's Willie the Wizard. Besides, this shot gives us a rather neat segue into our next sequence on...
The game of pool's first showman rescued the game of pool from near oblivion. Prior for its emergence, billiard popularity was completely dominated by the carom games. Won his first world title in 1919 and defended it 9 straight times, toured vaudeville with his beautiful show business wife, Princess Nai Tai Tai. Dazzled audience with his spectacular trick-shot exhibition, with a huge mirror suspended over the table. To enhance the spectator's view, professionally, he was virtually untouchable, winning 14 world titles by 1937. More than anyone else, he rescued the game of pool by casting it into spotlight with a natural showman's flair. Generally ranked as second to Willie Mosconi among the all-time great pocket billiards players, Greenleaf won the world professional title 6 times and defended it 13 times. He held the championship from 1919 through 1924 and also won it in 1926, 1928, 1929, 1931, 1932, 1937. He set records in 1929 for high single game average 63 and high grand average of 11.02 on a 5 by 10 foot table. A colorful showman, Greenleaf continued to attract spectators to exhibition matches until his death of heart attack until 1950.
Mr. Rudolph. One ball. Now, Mr. Greenleaf. Not that ball.
Just as billiard was synonymous with Willie Hoppe to many fans, pocket billiard meant Willie Mosconi. If Ralph Greenleaf had rescued pool in 1920s, it was Willie Mosconi who kept it alive in its post-World War II decline. Mosconi was truly a wizard at the table. From 1940 to 1957, he had a stronger hold on the world title, winning it 15 times. It was during the Mosconi era that the pool replaced billiard as America's game of choice. It was upon his retirement in 1957 that public interest in the game all but withered and died. He entered his first major tournament in 1937 and won the World Pocket Billiard Championship in league play in 1941 and in tournament play the following year. After losing the championship in a match with Andrew Ponce in 1943, He regained the title by beating Ponce in 1944 and held it until 1946 when Irving Crane won the World Championship tournament. Mosconi reclaimed the championship by beating Crane in a 1947 match. From 1950 through 1953 and in 1956 and 1957, Mosconi won the annual tournament to become world champion. He retired from competition after suffering a stroke in 1957. In 1954, Mosconi ran a record 526 balls during an exhibition in Springfield, Ohio. He also set a record for highest run in a single game, 127 balls in 1945, and his high grand tournament average is 18.34 balls in 1950 is the record for 4.5 by 9-foot table. Even after his retirement from formal competition, Mosconi was enthusiastic promoter of pocket billiards for the Brunswick Company, giving exhibition and appearing in televised matches. He was technical advisor for the 1961 movie The Hustler, which starred Paul Newman and Jackie Gleason. Player whose super brilliance with billiard cue won for him the sobriquet of Wizard. So some the leads of 1909 newspaper articles signing the praises of Jake Schaefer Sr. From the last quarter of the 19th century through the first decade of 20th, Schaefer Sr. was one of the most feared names in Balkan billiards. Derivation of the game were invented just to stymie his genius, all unsuccessfully. He traveled throughout the world winning the matches and gathering funds. On March 11, 1908, though desperately ill, he successfully defended his title in his final match for the 18.1 championship against Willie Hoppe by a score of 500 to 423.